My name is Jade, owner and principal planner of Joyful Events by Jade, and this is The Cookie Table. This is a podcast all about love, marriage, relationships, and the wedding industry, wedding news. Perfect for anyone that is getting married, is married, a wedding vendor, or someone that just loves weddings. Grab your favorite cookie from The Cookie Table, pour yourself a glass of Chardonnay, and let's get into it. Rachel Rowland, RachelRowland.com, photographer in Pittsburgh. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm freezing.
It is so
It's the coldest day of the year.
It's awful. And thank you for leaving your house for me.
It's fine. It's fine. It was very easy. My 3 children are home and losing their minds because they just don't go to school anymore.
I know. God bless you.
We just do school from home now.
What are your kids' ages?
My daughter's 10. Her name's Evie. Mm-hmm. And then my son, August, is 8. And then I have a 4-year-old psycho named Moses. Who, if anybody follows me, they know. There's
always one, right?
There's always one.
There's always one.
He's mine.
Welcome to The Cookie Table.
Thank you. Thank you for the cookies.
Oh my gosh. Nut horns are your favorite.
They are. It's weird, but it's who I am.
It's not.
I love them.
It's not weird at all.
Yeah. I was raised in Pittsburgh, and I had like 100% Italian grandma who used to make these for me. And now I go to every single wedding that I photograph. And if they have nut horns, I eat them and judge them and compare them to my grandma's.
I mean, I get it. It's a delicacy. Events by Emily, that's her favorite cookie as well.
Is it really?
So you're not the only person.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I usually, I've never seen them and have wanted to try them. I don't think I've ever tried one. Does that make me crazy?
No. It's like, why? Why would that be the one you choose? Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
why?
I mean, if you grew up with it and you're,
that
makes sense.
But like, if you're looking at a cookie table and there's beautiful like macarons or hand-painted cookies or giant chocolate chip cookies, like, why are you like, that one? The one that kind of looks
a little weird.
Like mushed up cat food. Sold.
I'm not judging you at all. Thank you, Grandview Bakery, as always, for providing our cookie table. Paired nicely with some red wine.
I know. I mean, cheers.
Cheers to that. I always get Josh wine. I don't know. Like when I go to the liquor store, it's just always Josh. So I hope you like it.
Okay. I'm nervous.
I always want to get more local wines, but they don't sell enough in the liquor stores of like local wines. Like you have to go to wineries, and I just don't have time for that.
No, who has time to do anything? Or energy.
Or
money.
None of all of it. None of all of it. Let's talk about you. You are very well known in this lovely city of Pittsburgh. I know I say that and you roll your eyes because you're very modest about it, but you are. How long have you been doing this?
Oh, God. This is my 15th year photographing weddings.
15. How are you feeling?
Sore, tired. I mean, I still love it. I love, not much has changed on that front, but like my body's starting to break down.
They're long days.
Feels different. But yeah, I mean, I remember during COVID, everybody was like getting really existential and they're like, what am I going to do? Or I don't know if anybody's ever seen that episode of The Office where Andy Bernard quits and then he's sitting there like trying to figure out what he is going to do. And he's like, I could be an art critic. This art looks bad. That's like how I felt during COVID. I was like, what else can I do? Literally nothing. This is just like what I was meant for.
It's your life.
And it's my life. And photographing weddings and or other life events or brands or anything. Something creative. I could never work for the man. I did for a little bit. And
that's why we're all here. That's why we're all doing this. And we all run our own business because it's just the worst. Yeah. We've all had our bad experiences that made us do this for the most part, but it shaped us. And it's why we're here today, which I think is a wonderful thing. So what did you do before you got into photography?
Interesting question. So I actually studied photography and film in college.
Okay.
So I always knew that my future was in some sort of like digital or visual communications. So even in high school, I was shooting film, and I was good friends with he's a local comedian. His name's Aaron Kleiber. And then the writer behind Pittsburgh Dad. They were 2 mentors of mine that I had known. I mean, they're a little bit older than me, but they just, saw the potential in me, and they kind of, when I was in high school, they kind of like taught me comedy and taught me that there was just a different way of seeing things. Like, you have to think, like, this was 2003, 2004. This world didn't exist. Like, you know, podcasts and photography, like wedding photographers were old men in black suits. You know what I mean? And so I was just kind of right on the precipice of that boom in Pittsburgh. Because when I studied at Pitt, and I went to Pitt, and in my film classes, my professors at the time said, well, if you want to be successful in film and in photography and in different things like this, you likely will have to leave the city.
Okay.
And so I remember thinking, well, I don't want to do that. And maybe that sounds lame of me, but I just was always like pretty satisfied and happy here. I love to travel, but I always kind of just wanted to be here. So when I graduated from high school, actually, are you familiar with Hot Metal Studio?
Yes.
So Hot Metal Studio, Jonathan, one of the owners, he was my boss at my first real person job. And I just saw them. I'm about a year behind them. So I think they're probably on their 16th year. And I saw them start their business, and they kind of helped. And I had a lot of mentors and a lot of people that were willing to share with me, their knowledge. And it was also a different time.
Yeah.
When I first started, there were maybe 10 photographers that I knew of. And Instagram didn't exist, and Pinterest didn't exist. I didn't even have a smartphone. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
It's a different world.
And so people ask me a lot now, how did you get started, or what's your secret? And I'm like, I can speak to a lot of my knowledge in how to properly run a business and marketing and different things like that. But when it comes to how did I start my business, I started my business in 2010.
Okay.
And I wouldn't recommend what I did in 2010 for somebody starting a business in 2025. So
that's fair.
Yeah. So that's kind of how that all started.
You've always been in photography then. It truly has been your life. I think that's wonderful.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's really crazy. But I mean, that's also a huge selling point too. Like, listen, like this is it. Like this, I went to school for it. Like I know what I know what I'm doing. So if there's any young photographers listening, that's like, I really want to be big one day, and kind of talk about that evolution through the times and you're learning through that and, making a name for yourself. Like how'd you do it?
So for a long time, I was just looking at everyone else, seeing what they were doing, trying to emulate that. Okay, that person, that business really seems to be thriving. So what are they saying? What are they doing? How are they blogging? How are they shooting? What light are they doing? And so I would emulate it and replicate it in like some sort of like formula would then get me, to where they are. But I learned quickly that that's not how they got to where they were. People get to where they are, especially in our industry, by listening to themselves and finding out their own identity and leaning into what their voice is saying and what their gut is saying and what their art is. So I remember it so clearly. I think it was 2016, and I had run a pretty successful business up until 2016, but I'm not going to name them, but I remember I had a friend who was like, "You're great. You're just like this other photographer, but cheaper. You're like a cheaper them." And I was like, nope, absolutely not. Yeah. No way. So my goal at that time was, how do I not even receive the same leads as that photography company anymore? I do not want to be compared to them. I don't want to be in a competition with them, so to speak, but I want to be so myself and so my own brand that when people are looking for me, they're not looking for them. And that really became an introspective journey. Yeah. Like, I was posing my clients in all of these ways that are so opposite of just my personality and who I am. And that's when I came up in my mind. I'm sure I was not the first person to say this, but I I remember 2016, I was like, I want to take photos that make you feel. And I remember just like thinking of that, it hitting me and just running with it. And I started leaning more into my own spastic energy, having my clients run around and so much more movement-based posing, which was not normal back in 2013, 2014. Like it was definitely
very posed.
It was very posed, very Vogue, which also has its place. I still do all of that, but I started experimenting more. I started showing more of who I am on social media. Again, that was kind of before or right at the beginning of the age of influencing and influencers. I want to say I think I met my first influencer. I was friends with her in 2011.
Okay.
And I remember she had like 20,000 Instagram followers, and
that was huge.
It was huge. It was wild.
You got millions now.
I know.
God,
I know.
What the? So many.
And I just remember, just being around this pivotal moment and how important social media was and is to be able to market yourself. And again, every business runs differently. I know a lot of wedding industry businesses that their personalities are more subdued, more in the background. Like you don't get that. But I knew that for me to stand out, for me to be different, for me to make my mark, for me to get clients that resonate with my brand, that they need to see who I am, because I am awesome.
Hell yeah. Say it louder.
Weird, and I'm fun, and I'm great to be around, and I'm professional. Like all of these different things that just posting a photo and saying a thing like two lovers, LOL, or something, like just some little caption isn't going to convey all of that. Anybody can do that. There's a million photographers all over this planet that are incredible, that can deliver a wonderful wedding product. So what makes me stand out from that?
I will never forget the last year. So this is my 7th year. And so last year was 6 for me, and we haven't worked together yet. But it was twice last year, right? So funny. So never worked together, and then like twice in 1 year, which was great. On a lower scale, they were day of clients of mine. So we didn't get the full-fledged, talking more beforehand. But, when we were going through our schedule, one of my team members was like, oh my God, can I please work that wedding? Because Rachel Rowland is on. I said, well, no, because I need you somewhere else. But she said, she just seems so fun. And a lot of people see that, and they want that energy. They want positive, happy energy, like for their wedding day. And it's okay to be yourself. And obviously you're proving that completely. Like, that's fantastic. That's a big part of why I wanted to start this podcast too, because I was like, I want to put myself out there more and just be myself and, be who I am, and not like the same cookie cutter, wedding planner of the case is. Like, it's good to be different.
Right.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Also, I always like to say too, I'm myself, but I'm very professional.
Yes.
It's polished.
Yeah.
And there's a level of professionality that sometimes I get nervous that people think that I lack, or that I see other vendors lack, but you have to remember, again, we are working in a luxury industry, and we are out there. People see us. People are watching us the whole wedding day. Like, you don't realize that. I mean, for the most part, most people are ignoring us because we are the help, but people are watching us. And so there's definitely a balance that needs to be met there, I guess, when showing your personality, but also being a professional. And it's really important not to rely on your personality over your skill and your talent and your professionalism. Again, I do see a lot of, younger people in the wedding industry that rely heavily on personality and begin maybe raising their prices a little too soon, or they get caught up in kind of the the glitz and glam side of what we do, or it's interesting that people praise us the way that they do, and you have to be very aware of what that does to your psyche. We are the help.
I know.
I take pictures.
It's true though.
They're good pictures, but I take pictures. And there's so much weight and importance on what I do for my clients, but not necessarily to the mass world. So like if I go out and people like, you know, just recently somebody was like, I know you from the internet. I'm like, they're like acting starstruck. And I'm like, no. And my daughter's rolling her eyes because she's like, Mom, this is weird. And I'm like, yeah, it's weird. So, you know, there's that aspect where humility is also important and remembering why we're doing this. But yeah, so skill is the most, I guess, I don't know. It's all a mixed bag of what's important.
Be yourself, but be professional. And especially in your caliber, you are doing more of those higher end weddings too. So it is important. I get that completely, to be polished side of things. And you are. But you bring the positive, fun, happy energy. And that is so huge, because I think on a wedding day, you know, I'm sure you've run into more than enough vendors, as I have too, that aren't. And I don't know if you might remember, but you do so many weddings, but the first wedding we did together in June of last year,
which was 150 degrees,
the hottest day of the year, but the DJ was so angry. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It was wild. Like he was
like friends. He was like friends with a friend of friends with a guest, and he was mad. He was mad. He was mad.
Loud.
I asked him about how he felt about Chapel Roan.
Oh God!
What did he say?
No, I wasn't.
He mocked me. I was like, "You can play any Chapel Roan tonight?" And he literally was like, he's like, "I don't know, Chappelle, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Okay, sorry,
sorry, I asked."
Meanwhile, everybody knows Chapel Roan is.
Yeah, literally. He was a very miserable human being. We all felt it. You know, he was loud throughout the tent. It was weird. But people see that. And that is a separate lesson, which we won't get into. Don't hire friends of friends to be your wedding vendors, dear God. I don't care how much you know them. It's not worth it. It's literally never.
Unless that friend of a friend is me.
Yeah, well, duh. Of course. So how many weddings, just speaking weddings, do you do a year on average?
Ooh, that all depends. Yeah. I mean, I did 50 in 2021, but that's because I did 10 in 2020.
Right.
So typically I photograph anywhere between 30 to 35 weddings per year. This year, though, I am stopping at 25.
Okay.
I have 24 booked.
Okay. One more.
One more. Who's it going to be? Come on. December. I'm really I took December. So every year I experiment with a different month off because I'm a person who likes to cluster all my work together, and then, well, I thought I was, but then I hated it. But I like to cluster all my work together and then really relax. But I don't.
It's hard.
Anxiety. But I did it in July, and I like July of 2023, and I loved it. I had all of July off.
That's great.
It was great. And then I took December off of this year.
Okay.
Dear God, I hated it.
Okay. Why? Because it was cold?
I don't know.
I
love photographing December weddings.
Yeah.
I love just the lights and the snow and just the feeling of a December wedding. It's just so romantic and everybody's so happy. I don't know, there's just something so special about it. And so I took December off this year because it's my birthday, my son's birthday, my husband's birthday. And I was like, I can just really lean into family. And then I'm just like, this sucks. I'm like, even me, after 15 years in the industry, I'm like, my brand is dying. Nobody's ever going to hire me again. I'm never going to get another wedding. All because I had like 6 weeks in a row off.
The imposter syndrome. Yes.
So this year I am trying to book another December wedding, but I'm taking pretty much all of October off this year.
That's big for Pittsburgh.
I know.
That's one of our biggest months. How do you feel about that?
I feel very excited. I'm old. I'm almost 40. I'm 38.
It's not old at all.
I mean, in this industry.
Stop it.
Girl.
Stop it. That's another conversation.
Girl, I meet like 22-year-old photographers. And they're like, I'm just happy to be here. And I'm like, I'm turning to dust.
Wait. No, you're not at all. You are not. But yes, October off.
But yes. And so last October, I worked a lot. And my daughter is an elite athlete. No, my daughter plays on 2 soccer teams and my son plays on a soccer team. And October's my favorite month of the year. And I didn't go to one damn pumpkin patch. I didn't carve a pumpkin.
Yeah.
I didn't drink any damn cider. I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
And I cried a lot. And I just like looked at me. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And I remember I would wake up and I would go to at 6 a.m. sometimes, and I would take my daughter to her soccer game, and then I'd rush back and take my son to his soccer game, and then I'd go to a wedding and shoot a wedding for 10 hours. And, I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
This is miserable. So I diversify my income streams. And so I make probably a third of my income on my mini session.
Yes.
My mini session business, as well as family portraits and branding. Yep. And so October is the biggest time of the year for people to want family photos. And I've created my mini session business in such a way that I am able to basically make as much money as I need to, as long as I'm opening up sessions for people. I can, I did 80 mini sessions between October and December of 2024, while also photographing
weddings.
Probably like 7 weddings between September, or no, maybe like, well, September is a lot. Probably like between October and November, I had like 5-ish weddings.
And you have to find time to sit down and edit these.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
That's rough.
That's a lot. So you're doing family portraits, mini sessions, and weddings.
Yes. And so this year coming up, I have one wedding in October, which is a Friday. Okay. And
I love a good Friday wedding.
I know.
Love it. Give me my weekend, baby.
I booked a Thursday.
Good. Oh, that's even better.
Wedding in April.
So fun.
So excited.
Love it. Give me something during the week.
Courthouse and the Vandal. It's going to be so awesome. They have a planner. It's going to be
great.
That's great. But yeah, so in October, I will do that one wedding, and then I will I'll make my income up doing the family portraits twice a week on probably like Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay. So that's what I was going to ask. Do you try to do the work-life balance weekly as well, or we're putting those months off into the year too? Like, how do you balance your weeks?
It's always different.
Yeah.
It's always different.
Because it's when people are available.
Yeah. And like this week I had 2 sessions that I love doing, weekday sessions.
Yeah.
I'm very strict about my weekend work. My weekend work is weddings and mini sessions that are my quarterly mini sessions that I'll allow. So I will do, say in October coming up, I will do all weekday mini sessions, and then I will have one weekend where I will do mini sessions for any of my clients who cannot make a weekday.
Okay.
And so my weekends, I will never do engagement sessions. I will never do portrait sessions. And then on my weekdays, unless it's an engagement session, I do the bulk of my photos during the day when my kids are at school.
There you go.
So that way I'm available most evenings to be like present for my family. So
yeah, we have families, people. I know it's crazy because it's like, when you are hyper focused on your wedding, which is such an important day in your life, and it should be. It should be one of the biggest days in your life, honestly. Yes. And hopefully, the only time you do it is once, but not always.
I've done a second though. It's lovely.
That's okay.
It's lovely.
So it's a huge day in your life. So it's easy as someone getting married to have tunnel vision and to answers right away, things right away. But we are all people. We are all people with families, and we need to take time off. And even a day or a night off, dear God, So it's like, that's really amazing that you found that balance, and it's okay to have that balance, because I think people that are newer in the industry, they're taking everything that they can get. So it's hard.
Saying no is so hard when you don't already feel secure in what you have booked.
Yes.
But you have to say no for the right opportunities to come along, or else you're saying yes, and then you have to say no to the right opportunities. I mean, and it's so hard. Even me, it's not like I have this whole thing figured out. Yeah. Or I feel completely confident, or I always make the right choices. Just recently I lost a wedding, and I don't know who it was to, but I lost a wedding because I was very strict about my communication over Christmas and New Year's. I had an out of office up, and somebody emailed me, I think like New Year's Eve, to talk about their wedding, and then I didn't respond until I was back in the office, maybe 3 or 4 days later, and they said, like, we it was nothing you did. We love your work, but we connected with another photographer who responded to us right away and got on the phone with us and then booked us. And there's something to be said about, being present.
Yes.
And I guess it all comes down to how not like desperate you are, but how much you need to book in the moment, because after that kicked my butt into gear. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. And I booked 3 weddings because between January 1st and now, because I was so annoyed at the fact that these clients, and it was nothing they did wrong. It was nothing the other photographer did wrong, but I was so annoyed at the fact that like, damn, I took this time. I had a great time with my family, but I missed out on thousands of dollars. So that kind of kicked my butt into gear where the 3 bookings that I had, I was very
on it. As soon as an inquiry came in.
Yes, I was like, hey, let's get on the phone. Let's do this. Let's do that. And that is such a huge thing in our industry. If you are, especially if you're first starting out or if you're hurting for booking, it's like your communication. Now I feel like I'm in a place where I don't know, things are wonky this year, but typically when people reach out to me, they want me, or they're highly interested in me, so they're willing to wait
3 days,
a little bit longer to hear from me. You know, they see me on socials, they see what I'm doing, I'm communicating, but that's how that works. So
speed to the lead, right? Sure. I know
if you want
hard.
it, I guess.
I know it's hard. It is hard, but work-life balance is important, and sometimes it takes people a really long time to figure that out. Like you said, saying no is really hard. But I said no to a client for the first time because I could just tell where it was going, and it wasn't for me, and they wanted to move forward, and I felt bad. I was just like, oh my gosh, like we're booked or something like that. Yeah. But I just was like this. Yeah. It was like after a phone call, I was like, this isn't it. This isn't going to work. And I know I'm going to regret it. And I know. And so I was just like, I'm going to say no to this.
Yeah. I'd say the phrase, I'm unavailable is a whole sentence that does not require any more explanation. And I use that a lot. Yeah. Just because I'm not shooting a wedding doesn't mean I'm available that day.
Yes,
and so that's my response is I'm so sorry. Thank you for your inquiry. I am unavailable. I mean, no's a full sentence. And it's okay. And it's not because we're like elitist or pretentious or something like that. I'm protecting myself and my business, and I'm protecting my current clients. Yes. You need to protect your current clients because sometimes you have those red flag clients, or you just know when somebody's going to suck your energy.
Yes, exactly.
And suck your joy and make things difficult. And I've never booked a red flag client and then been like, well, that turned out great.
Literally never.
And I rarely have red flag inquiries or red flag clients, but when I do and I take them, I'm like,
I knew it. Yep. Exactly.
Damn.
Exactly. Yeah. And it sucks your joy and your peace. Exactly. Like it's just, it's okay to say no, and it takes time and years to learn that. It can, but when you're early on, it's really hard.
Yeah. And everything. Even when you're early on, take everything.
Yeah, you should.
Take everything. Learn as much as you can. Make mistakes, like screw up. Absolutely. Take the red flag clients. I did. My first wedding booked me for $900.
Yeah, crazy to think about, right? We all did it. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's all right.
We all did it.
And that's okay. And you mentioned part of your income is from your minis.
Yes.
But a little, maybe going out money is from your life on Threads.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. My going out, you mean the money for my kids'
the extra,
shoes?
Yeah.
For my daughter's soccer?
Kids' clothes.
Monthly, yes.
Get it. So anyone, if you don't know what Threads is, it is basically Instagram's version of Twitter or X, so to speak now. It's connected to...
Which I feel like X is now Instagram's version of X.
I know.
Whatever,
I don't even know at this point.
Politics.
It's too much to keep up with. But Threads is fun. There's a different algorithm to it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
You are very active on it, but I want you to talk about that activity and how there have been times where you are fighting for your life, right? Because people are just nuts. Nailing you.
I like TikTok too.
Crazy.
The internet's just like
crazy.
Listen. Don't post on the internet.
If you're not ready for the trolls.
If you're not ready to laugh at what people say to you. That's really what it comes down to, because I have had So I'm on Threads.
Yeah.
I was like, let's try this out. Why not?
Yeah.
And so I just started posting on Threads, and then I got offered. They started paying me.
Yes.
They started paying me to do it. And so I'm very active on Threads.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll be very honest with you. Like, I think it's a fine community. It's a great community. Would I have space for it if I was not being paid? No. So I pour my time and my energy into things that will make me money.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Obviously, I give my time. I give my money. Yeah. I am philanthropic. I give to charities. I get, but when it comes to my business, I spend time and energy in things that I know are good for my business and will make me money. I invest into relationships. I invest into social media platforms. I invest into marketing things. I do not waste my time with things that are not going to make me money because we have such a small amount of time from our day to day. So I started dabbling in Threads, and then all of a sudden I got added to this like
crazy
beta program where if I hit a quota, I make $500 a month. There you go. And like everybody is like, oh, $500. It's not that much money. It's true, but that's
$6,000 a year.
Yeah, I just post my thoughts on Threads.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I just post my thoughts on Threads. However, I've never received a lead from Threads. I've never booked work from Threads.
That's a good question.
So I guess I've made a few connections, different things like that. But Threads is a wild, wild west. Like I one time, not even photography related. I was like, it was right after that person got lit on fire at the subway station in New York City.
Oh God, yeah.
And so I was like, and I kind of knew. So the more traction I get, the quotas I make, the money I make.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So I asked, I was like, is New York safe? Because I'm thinking of taking my daughter to New York City this spring. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I have family in New York and I have friends in New York, and I know I could have just asked them, but I was like, I'm just gonna ask Threads. Is New York safe? Somebody just got lit on fire.
What kind of responses were you getting? Like, are you kidding me?
Oh my God. Go touch grass. Don't believe it. You're an idiot. Like the worst insults hurled. And I love it. And I'm a troll. So I'm like, thank you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to offend you. I'm so sorry. And then they're like, where are you even from? You snowflake. No, it's fine. Or once I posted a video to TikTok of like a pose I did where I had the bride put her leg over the groom's shoulder while he was sitting on the ground. And I was like, just like chew on her leg, like corn on the cob. Weird. Not weird for me and my personality, but the photos were fire. Like flash and grain. Yeah. They were like drunk. It was the end of the night. We did like the nice, fancy portraits. But anyway, I posted that with the photos. People were like, you sick fuck. Like, really? Calling me a Quentin Tarantino saying you're a photographer, had a foot fetish. It has like 10 million views on TikTok. Yes.
That sounds sexy.
It was incredible.
I like it. Yeah.
But people are like, I don't get it. This is disgusting. I hope you got your money.
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
that's terrible.
It's fine. It's fine.
Hey, if we can laugh about it. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And like most of the comments were like, you're a photographer. He's such a pig. And I would just like comment back on it and be like, she's a pig. Me.
With a whole ass husband and several children. Come on.
And a thriving business. You dummy.
Yeah.
And I said I did return their money. This was the only photo I delivered from their gallery.
Right.
Can you believe it?
Oh my gosh.
That's it. That's all you get.
That's all they wanted. Yeah. That's the only one that turned out well.
You gotta love an internet troll.
People are crazy.
Crazy.
But I respect you for putting yourself out there with that. And, that's
you have to be strong.
Yeah. Yeah.
To do it.
And you are super confident in yourself, as you should be.
Thank you.
Which is good. So let me do it. Let me troll people with my threads. And you keep responding to Rachel, everyone. She's making money.
Yeah.
She's making money. That's a great business owner, though, right? Is like you said, everything you explained, putting your energy into what is worth it to you and what is making money. And I love it. Yeah. More power to you. That's amazing.
And keeping your clients happy, keeping the people who are paying you and you are keeping them happy. I don't care about some random troll on the internet or what another photographer thinks about me or what this group of people are talking about me in the industry, because there's a lot of cattiness in this industry and a lot of people that want to see you fail and want to see you, or just make up their own narratives about you, even though
Not
they
even
don't.
knowing you.
Yeah, yeah. And that's all okay.
Yeah.
As long as my clients are happy and there's a roof over my kid's head and my needs are met, then go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's fine.
Sticks and stones won't break my bones.
Yeah. Words do hurt though.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's true. It's true. But that photo got a lot of traction. It was wonderful. We clearly all know you know what you're doing. So I want to talk about a few things that happen on a wedding day, and I want your opinion on them. These are inspiration from our November wedding together too. So one thing that I thought was interesting. So people like to do the quote unquote flash and switch, which is running to each table and getting a photo with them. I don't think anyone really likes it. And I think even when the couple does it, they don't even really like it.
Dude, I did a wedding this year.
Who wants to do it?
I did a wedding this year where it was so many things happened. And it was finally like a minute for me and my assistant to go rest. And we were walking down the hall and I heard the DJ announce that we were doing it, and we had to sprint back. And I looked at the bride and groom and they were like, we didn't know this was happening. Yes.
That's even worse.
I know. And we had to do it. And it was like a tight ballroom, and the groom, every table, he's like, I'm so sorry. This wasn't our decision.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. That's a bummer.
I hate it. It's okay. I'll do it.
I always feel too, because I think I just feel for everyone involved. And I'm lucky that I don't have to do the running, but I always feel for you. And
the photos suck.
Yes.
They don't get framed. There's always somebody in the bathroom. There's always somebody's always missed. It is stressful. People are eating. Yeah. People get mad at me. People get so mad at me when I ask them to do things on wedding days, especially during mealtime.
Yeah.
If I ask them to do anything while they're eating, they look at me, they wipe their face, they throw it down, and then they like do whatever I ask. But I'm just like, everyone's fine. I'll absorb it. And I say, like, if a client really wants that, then do it. But there are so many ways for you to capture your guests.
Yes.
Put disposable cameras on each table. Have a photo booth selfie. Ask for group photos on the dance floor of specific sets of people.
Okay.
Before dancing starts.
Yeah.
There are just so many more options than that chaotic.
Yes.
Whatever it's called. What is it called?
Flash and switch. I've also heard it called running of the rounds by a DJ called it that before.
It sounds terrible.
It does.
What are we, bulls? Running the rounds.
It's very silly. And I think your way of kind of changing it was really smart. If this is a non-negotiable for you as a couple getting married and you absolutely want a picture with each table, have the tables come to you.
Yeah.
And that felt less chaotic. Yeah. It felt a little bit more organized, and the couple isn't doing the running. Yeah. And like it's the chaos of the running. It's not fun. It just seems silly. And, when it's a really tight room, like you said, like people don't think about those logistics. And then it's like, but I really, really want to do it. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll let you, but it's silly. But I loved how you did that. You're like, listen, let's just bring everyone to you. And
then like there's one or two tables with people who are not able-bodied that we run to.
Yeah.
And then that makes it much simpler. But at the end of the day, like, what are you doing with those photos? But I get it. Okay, I don't want to sound judgmental because in reality, I have before, and I will again take the last photos of somebody. I did a wedding where a bride texted me like 3 days later, and she was like, my grandfather died that night.
Oh my!
The night after her wedding was over, her grandfather passed away, and I took pictures of the two of them together.
Wow! And
so that is why I never say no.
Yep.
That's why I never say no.
Yeah.
This could be the last photo, or I've had so many. Again, I've done almost 500 weddings at this point. Maybe 10 times I've had somebody email me and say like, thank you so much. This was the last picture of this person you caught.
That's
like
crazy.
Even if it's in the background or
Yeah.
a candid, my goal is always to try to capture everybody at your wedding.
Yep.
In some form.
Yeah.
So.
And that's a way to do it. Just to, make them come to you, maybe.
Yeah.
I
Or
think.
photo booths.
They're just photo booth. Yeah, I like the photo booths are great.
Or those disposable cameras are cute. Like there's so many options.
Yeah.
To make sure.
Yeah, you get
everyone. Or even the QR code.
Mm-hmm.
There's that QR code.
Oh, yes. We're putting QR codes at each table. Yep.
Yeah, where like every photo you took today, upload to this QR code. Like there are just so many options because I'm going to be honest, those photos are going to look better than like a janky, like half lit photo that I'm taking while I'm sweating. You know what I mean? It's all the same at that rate.
Yep.
100%.
So. What is your take on officiants moving out of the way for that ceremony first kiss? I've seen some photographers say, quote, "Can officiants please stop trying to move out of the way for the first kiss? Standing awkwardly next to the couple is worse than behind them for the photo." So what is your preference or your recommendation on
Recently, I did a wedding and the maid of honor, they did their kiss and the maid of honor grabbed the officiant and pulled him away.
Yeah.
And then they stopped kissing before he was gone. So every single one of the first kiss photos are the maid of honor and then like pulling. So here's my thing. It needs to be discussed and agreed upon. And that's the thing is like, I don't understand why there's some like weird lack of communication between the officiants and the clients and the photographers. There should not be confusion on such an easy thing.
Yep.
Okay. So one,
Yep.
Do you want your officiant to move? Yes? No? Okay. Yes? Cool. Where is your officiant going?
Yep.
Okay. They're going this far away. Okay. Cool. When is your officiant announcing the first kiss? When they're already there. Cool. So, okay. All right. Well, walk. I now pronounce you, blah, blah, blah. You may kiss.
There you go.
Like, that's the thing about weddings, too, is everybody overthinks every minute little detail and they run things through their brains and they talk things to death. And it's just like, this doesn't have to be this hard.
Yep.
This doesn't have to be this hard. Either they stay, which is fine. They just might be in your background of your first kiss photo, or they just like take a few steps away and then tell you to kiss.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is a 20-minute conversation.
I know.
Why is this a 20-minute conversation?
If you have the choice, if they stay, it's better that they're fully behind instead of this awkward right to the side.
So that
Otherwise,
also
get the
depends
whole way out of the way.
Because what if it's their best friend marrying them? And what if their best friend is standing there and smiling and laughing and the maid of honor and the best man? And it's just like this magical, wonderful thing. I think it's very case by case.
Yeah.
And
such good points.
Whatever works. But I just think it all needs to be agreed upon.
Yeah. Just have a conversation about it.
Just have a conversation. Let's talk it out, people. And like talk it out for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you're going to move and you're going to say, you okay with that? This is what they would like? Sure.
Bring me in.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what to do. I'll say, what do you want? Yeah. Okay, this is how we're going to do it. You know, bring you in. What do you want?
Yeah.
Okay, this is how we're going to do it. Like it just doesn't have to be that big of a thing.
It's strange too, because there have been times where I've tried to have that conversation and the officiant feels bothered and upset by it.
Oh my God.
And it's like, but why?
Yeah.
Like, just please move.
Well, we had our officiant.
He and that was
bless him.
Yes, bless him. He did have some hip issues.
Yes, and he had to sit during the whole ceremony. But it was so cute because he was like,
I know.
And then he's like marrying them, looking up at them and stuff. And then, but I asked him to move per the.
He was like,
he huffed and puffed at me.
So huffed and puffed.
I'll say, this isn't my request. I don't care what you do.
Right.
And that's another thing is, personally, me as a photographer, I don't care what happens. I mean, I care, but I don't care.
Yep.
Because I'm capturing the day as it happened. And so if it doesn't necessarily go to plan or happen the way that I think is like aesthetically pleasing or will make a good Instagram photo or whatever, I don't care. That's not why I'm there. It's not what it's about. So that's the thing is too, like, I don't have a ton of skin in the game as far as what the end product is, I'm going to capture it beautifully,
Yep.
whether there's a guy sitting there watching you kiss or whether he
moves out of the way.
moves out of the way.
Yeah.
Like it's totally fine.
Yes.
So that's my take.
Yes, that's a really good take. And that ceremony in particular as well was in front of big windows. Starting to go later in the evening because this venue is open to the public and we had no choice but to have a later ceremony.
It was quite backlit. Yes.
So it was very, very backlit. And I kind of want to share a story as to why I want to have this conversation with you too, because I had a wedding last year with a photographer that I really love, worked with that person multiple times. The other times I worked with them was moody, darker, like venues, winter weddings type of thing. And we are in a space where there's a big window as part of the room. And we did a really fun floral install with hanging disco from it because it's the one focal point in the room. And we had to cover, this place has something that we needed to cover, essentially. It was ugly. So it was our way of covering it. And we put a lounge there, made it cute. And the couple really wanted a picture in front of it. And she looked at me and went, I can't take a picture of them in front of that window. And I went, why? Like, why? She's like, I can't, I'm not doing that. And I went, okay. So this was a partial planning client. They picked a photographer, on their own, which is always great. Fine. But
It's not fine. Listen to your planner.
I was shocked.
Book your planner, then your photographer. Continue.
Shocked. So then fast forward, I get a full scale client who only booked their venue. Then they booked me and they were telling me about photographers. This photographer comes up. We're in a venue for the full scale client with windows the entire way around. I was honest. I told them my experience. I said, I love this person. That makes me nervous for you because I don't know. If she looked at me and said no, if we're in a room full of windows and that's your whole venue, I don't know how that's going to turn out. I would hate for you to do that. And they were like, oh my God, I'm so glad you said something before I booked anything. I'm like, well, I never want you to book anything without talking to me first. But it shocked the heck out of me. I obviously would love to work with that person again, but I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't have this person with a bunch of windows. So was that fair for her to say no? Is there ways around that? What do you do?
This is actually something I'm really passionate about.
I'm glad I am.
So when I first began,
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started as a wedding photographer, and oh gosh, up until a few years ago, I was just a natural light photographer. I just photographed with whatever available light there was, and then I would pop my back flash on and I would close my eyes and I would just like hope. Photography is the science of capturing light. Photographers and videographers, natural light can be a great tool to use. Okay. But when you're working in a luxury space, when you are charging luxury prices, and that could mean different things for everybody. Mm-hmm. But my prices started to go up. And I realized that I need to be able to create light and I need to be able to create beautiful imagery in no matter what lighting scenario that I was in, what venue I was in, whatever was happening, I needed to be able to, if I'm going to charge you X amount of money, then I need to be able to create. Now, I mean, that's all within reason. Like if they wanted some like big, beautiful natural light photo there, then no. But I bring all of the lighting that I would need to create beautiful images in pitch black. I create, like we did with that wedding. You saw, so they got married behind a wall of windows as the sun was setting and it was coming in straight through like that.
Literally.
I bring in lighting to offset that sun. You know what I mean? Like and I look ridiculous with my cart of lights. But I used to rely on, hopefully they have a videographer because videographers always bring in their movie lights. And shameless plug to JT Penderville. I love him. Good friend of mine.
Love JT.
I said to him one day, I said, what are these lights? What am I doing? He sent me the links. He said, buy these. And now I don't care. I don't have to stress. I don't have to worry if there's a videographer who's going to be there, who knows what they're doing. I have those lights. I set them up and then I create whatever I need to create for my client. And so, and I don't want to tell other people how to run their business. I don't want to tell, but as me, a photographer running a successful business and being able to create, just being able to capture, like just, it's just like a part of running business is being able to.
Yes. To mold and bend and learn as years go on, which you have. Yes. And that is so important for couples who are picking their vendors. If you don't have a planner that can help guide you, you know, there's a lot of caveats that go into these vendors, and you're picking people based on experience for a reason. We hope you do. And that's okay if they don't have as much experience, but having expertise and someone that could shoot regardless of what it looks like around you. I mean, it is worth paying for that and having someone that knows what the hell they're doing. Yeah. And there are a lot of photographers that do not bring their own light, or they don't know how to use it, like you said you did, based off of videography.
Right. And I don't want to like come on here on some high horse and say, since day one, I knew how to. No, I learned and it was trial and error. And it is a headache. Yeah. And it is intimidating to learn these things. Yeah. But it is paramount to serving your clients. It's like so important to serve your clients by being able to perform under any circumstance. Yes. And like there's no judgment about where you are or what you like or what you prefer. However, like there are certain ways that I like to photograph and certain things that I like to do. However, I will go outside of that if I need to serve my client. You know what I mean? And having that working knowledge is really important.
Incredibly. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, you know, I've been a photographer forever and I went to school for it. And I know there are a lot of people who kind of see our industry and then they do the math. I know people see what I charge and then they go, well, times 30 weddings a year and she makes $1 million. And it's like, no. And then, so then they jump into the industry, you know, you hear that all the time. These people, this is the quote I got. I should go into the wedding industry. And it's like, no, we all know that that's not the reality that, you know, I make I net probably 1/4 of whatever I charge for a wedding after X, Y, and Z. But, you know, so people they think that we make so much money. So they jump into the industry
without any knowledge, without even learning or wanting to learn the right way or going through it. And they're jumping in and they're trying to take bigger weddings, or maybe they get a bigger wedding and then
they're like, oh shit.
Yeah. Oh my God. And they're like,
what
wow.
Do I do? Yeah. I mean, like, and that happens with planners all the time. I just had 100%. Fun planning my wedding.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you had a great time. But yeah, it all takes years to learn. Yeah. That's why we're all still here after how many years?
I know people feel like our industry isn't welcoming, but I think it is.
Yes.
I think it is, but I think there's a lot of insecurity.
Yeah.
And I think I know for me that I try to keep my head down and I try to stay in my lane and I try not to look at what everybody else is doing and I try not to see what everybody else is, because it's not, it feels like me 15 years in, it feels like it's being taken from me.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. When I lose a wedding to a friend or to a person, or when there's a new person in the industry getting all this attention, it does. It feels like that's the natural human. Yep. Like that's our natural human way, is that we feel like things are being taken from us.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Absolutely.
There's not. We need to create our own opportunities. We need to create our own lanes and we need to encourage those around us. You know, like I'm a person who hopefully comes off as like approachable and somebody that you can DM. And I get a lot of DMs and I do have a lot of people that, you know, will ask me questions here and there. And I try to answer them as best as I can. I'm not going to lie to people or just ignore them. But, you know, it's all about, I don't know, just doing what you can to serve your client best.
Absolutely.
You know, not make the coolest photo, not go viral, not, X, Y, and Z, not look cool to your friends, not have the best florals, not have the coolest vendor team, but like serve the people who are paying you to. So,
and remain true to yourself when you're doing it. And as we are all dealing with the evolution of this lovely industry, but 15 years in for you is you've seen a lot, which is a good thing. So you know what the hell you're talking about. And I want to kind of end on vendor galleries, because I think just throughout the last year in photographers I've talked to, there can be an expectation of vendors thinking they need or deserve that gallery. And there's also photographers that share it without asking. So there's no standard. So I want to get your take on that, how you feel about them, what you wish would be the standard. Give it to me.
I don't know. It's so, this is a gray area one. So, let me be very clear. The only people who have the rights to those images are the photographer and the client. Nobody else nobody else, just because that those photos don't belong to anybody else. Okay.
Yep.
And so that ruffles feathers right there, is because florists, planners, linen, well, I did this, I did that, I did this. However, florists, planners, linens, people, they're also in an impossible situation, because photographers say explicitly, no other photographers allowed at a wedding.
Yep.
So these vendors feel like, oh, well, I can't bring my own photographer, but I'm not allowed to ask them for their photos. So, and I don't want to just rely on my shitty iPhone photos. So what the hell do I do?
Yes.
So there is a really weird, shifty dynamic going on here. And it is centralized around A, egos, B, money, and C, just a lack of communication.
Yes.
There's just a lack of communication. So I am a person who 9 times out of 10 will share the photos with most vendors. When will I not share the photos? When I have a really shitty experience. I had a really terrible experience at a venue this summer, and they were awful to me. And good for you. Everything was, the timeline was way behind. The couple, and then they were so difficult with giving us golf carts and getting us to where we needed to go for photos. And then I had 15 minutes to do portraits, and I said, no, we'll be back when I say. And the couple didn't want to go out for sunset. So I had 15 minutes. And then I walk in. I got them back 5 minutes late. 5 minutes late. And I walk in, and a whole group of the staff were talking about me. And I walked in. And I walked into the group, and I said, I got him back. Don't worry. And now literally I got an email from them this week. We loved working with you. No, because no, I am such a team player. And I will not, no. I don't want people to see that I was at your venue. I don't want to talk about being at your venue. You were awful. So, and then I had another situation where I shot a wedding in June, and the DJ walked up to me and he's like, I know you. And I was like, oh, I know you. Which wedding did we work together? And he runs away and he laughs. He goes, wait, I remember. And he comes back and he brings his pamphlet, which he has a stack of them. And he was like, I stole your photo for my print ad. And it was one of my best dance floor photos that I'd ever taken. And he's laughing in my face. And he's going, sorry. And I'm just like,
ugh, yeah, that's so gross. Yeah.
That's theft. That's theft. And, it's because the bride sent him the gallery. So,
yes.
And I loved him. I enjoyed working with him. If he would have emailed me, I would have sent it to him. So there's, different levels. There's social media, there's print, there's billboards, there's all these different types of marketing. And I have so many friends in the industry. They get my photos. They get my photos.
Yeah.
I scratch your back, you scratch mine. But honestly, like I did a wedding with a florist, and it was a new florist. They wrote me this like the sweetest little card, and they were like, "Hey, we're so excited to work with you. So if there's any way you'd be willing to share photos, that'd be awesome." And like I don't want people to grovel to me. I don't want people to feel like they have to suck up to me to get photos. Yeah. It's a very weird and interesting dynamic, and I don't know what the solution is. However, I know the solution isn't like photographers telling vendors that they can't bring photos. They can't bring other photographers and then not giving them pictures. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. It's got to be either one or the other. Like, especially like of a tablescape. And if you don't want your vendors bringing other photographers, then talk to them. Yep. Because you're probably paying a photographer to come. Exactly. Okay. Well, then just like,
I'd rather pay you.
Yeah. Like, then just pay me that small amount. Or for me, it's relationship building. Right. So I'm going to share the photos to people I have a great relationship with, or want to continue building a relationship with. Right. Like, I'm at the Carnegie Music Hall foyer all of the damn time. Yeah. And guess what? They never make me pay to do engagement photos there. They let me into different spots that aren't there. Yeah. Or, you know, they make things easy for me. I share my photos with them, you know, and it's, so anyway, that's, like, and I remember and it's weird. Like I won't say the planner, but the planner called me and they're like, "Rachel, are you free right now?" I was like, "Right now?" Yeah. They're like, "The photographer is awful and this is one of our best designs. Ooh. Can you please come just shoot these details?
Yeah, the details.
Please, like I'm begging you." Yeah. And it ended up like, like the photographer, like they just like hired a friend. Yeah. And the details were fire. Yeah. And I went, and the photographer was so mad at me, wouldn't look at me, wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't this, wouldn't that. And like these photos I took for the planner. Yep. The planner is the only person who got them. The client didn't get them. The planner uses them for their socials. And that was it. Yeah. And so we photographers need to, we're so egotistical. We are.
That's okay though.
We are. It's okay. I struggle with ego as well. I personally
It's your art. It's your art. Yeah. And it's your work. It's your time. Yeah. And there's become this uncomfortable gray area with social media where people think they can just screenshot things and share them because it's social media, right? Like, oh my gosh, I just got tagged in this post. This is awesome. I would love to have these photos as well. This is a wedding I did. I think it starts with other vendors understanding if you ask nicely, it might go a little
not grovel.
Yeah, just ask in a very polite, kind way, and don't expect them. Yeah. And if it's a good relationship and a good working relationship, then hell yeah. You know, if that's up to you or as the photographer, those are your pictures that you took. Yeah. So
or offer like how like what can I do for you? Like you know, in exchange for these photos, like. How can I credit you? What can I offer you? I mean, the bartering system's not dead.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like, you have things to offer to people. Yep. I have things to offer to people. I barter. I have a junk guy. Pittsburgh Junk Company. He's the man. Love him. Every year I do his family photos, and he comes and hauls junk out of my house, and it's just like. You know what I mean? Like the bartering system's not dead.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And if you can, like when people offer to do things for me in exchange for something, I like, my heart sings. I hate capitalism and I hate money and I hate blah, blah, blah. Like if we could just live off the barter system, I would. So there are just ways to.
What can I do for you? Out of respect for your photos and you sharing these with me.
Like, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be a B word. The amount of parties that are thrown for only planners.
Yes.
In this industry. And in this city is sickening.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Every week I see another venue. I see another vendor. I see somebody and it's all the same planners.
Yep.
But I give away thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of royalty free photos every year. And nobody's like, "Hey, we just want to thank you by giving you a hotel stay for a night or like
You're not
have a photographer party or have like a vendor party." Like, no, it's literally like every time I see it and it's okay. But like photographers sometimes feel like, "Hey, we'd love a little love as well."
That's very fair. I know. I actually was shocked when I started like getting all these planner only invites, and I was just like, why? You don't gotta wine and dine me, but I'll come. Like, hell yeah, like,
oh yes, absolutely, you should go.
It's crazy though. It is crazy.
But
and
there are certain venues
too.
that I literally give thousands of dollars worth of photos for,
and they think it's just coming from us because we can get them the client if they hire the planner first. Yeah,
which is also very valid. It's very valid.
It is a shame. And that actually brings me to a little maybe surprise that I won't say now on the podcast, but will say to you off the record, and I will mention it when the time's right in a few weeks. So we'll end it with that. I have something up my sleeve that you just maybe.
Are you starting
it? No, that would be crazy. But no, just something little. Not that big, but that would be cool. Yeah. Rachel, you're wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
You being here
wonderful.
Means so much to me. This was fun. So let's do it again. Let's hang out again, another wedding. But Rachel Rowland, rachelrowland.com. She has one more wedding left for 2025. Let it be December. Go get it. Please go get it. Thank you.